I, 31 male, have been in a relationship with my girlfriend, 27, for about a year. We cohabitate and have done so for the past 6 months. I blew about $200 a few weeks back ordering some Wagyu steaks. I was looking forward to them coming because I love cooking and have never had a real Wagyu steak before. They arrived on Thursday evening last week and I decided we'd have them for dinner on Friday night. My girlfriend seemed generally uninterested, as she's not much of a steak person, but she said she'd enjoy them with me. On Friday morning before I went to work we had an argument. It was really stupid. She disagreed with me on a project involving the garage and despite the fact that I own the house we live in, kept trying to assert authority over the decisions I made. She then brought up the Wagyu steaks as evidence that I was wasting money on the project and expensive food. I went to work in a bad mood, but I texted her in the afternoon saying I'd like to talk it over a bit when I got home with a cool head. She didn't answer. I left work around 5:30, looking forward to the steaks. But when I walked in the door, there was this horrible smoke smell. My girlfriend greeted, grabbed my hand and led me to the table. She said, "Dinner is served." The steaks were pitch black, completely inedible. Eating them would have been a health hazard. I asked what she was thinking, and she theatrically gasped with her hand over her mouth and then said, "Oh, me?" Now let me get one thing straight here. There is no way she accidentally got those steaks to that condition. Based on our frying pan, she probably turned the heat up as high as it would go, tossed the eggs on without oil or butter, and just let them sit. This was completely intentional. I called her on her lie. She kept being obtuse. She kept using phrases like, "Oh, aren't you happy?" and "Oh, weren't you looking forward to these steaks?" I've never been so disgusted with her. Well, her birthday was on Sunday and I had reservations at a really nice French restaurant for her, her parents and me. I just flat out told her that I was cancelling the reservation. She immediately flipped and said to me that her parents would be super upset, but I didn't care. She grabbed the steaks and threw them in the garbage, where they would go anyway, and then stormed off. Sunday came and went. She didn't say a single word to me, opting to lock herself in another room. Her parents have had complete radio silence. I'm starting to feel bad about my decision, but did I go over the top here? Wow, she is the vengeful type. These people never get better. They're always just one misunderstanding or stupid argument away from scorching the earth on you. Not the idiot, but please, break up right now or be prepared to suffer this fate for God knows how long. And when you break up with her, be prepared. As a vengeful and frankly spiteful person, she will likely try to destroy something in your home. I would recommend some nanny cams and hiding anything of sentimental or monetary value. At least with cameras it will be documented and, should the need arise, made available to the courts. What was her goal anyway? Did she think it would prove her point by doing this? I can't see what her deal was. She's a grown adult woman. We learned in kindergarten that this isn't a way of proving a point. What the heck? How childish. If this is how she acts after only living together for 6 months, I dread to think how much worse she can get. Send her back to her parents. Tell them to send her back to kindergarten where her behaviour is age appropriate. She is trying to prove that she calls the shots and he can't do anything about it. If that were my house, she wouldn't have slept another night in it. OP, ditch her. What a childish witch. At her grown age? Nah, you're too old to play like that. You shouldn't cancel her birthday dinner. You should cancel the relationship. I, 32 female, have been in a relationship with my current boyfriend, 40, for nearly a decade. About 4 years ago, we decided to purchase a home together and split our bills fairly based on our salaries. We usually get along very well until I bring up something that has been bothering me lately. For background, his sister, 50, and brother-in-law, 55, were going through a hard time financially. They moved states over a year ago to be closer to us, and we offered to help them get on their feet. By this I mean they live in our home rent-free. At first, we paid all their expenses, but when the brother-in-law got a job, we stopped paying for anything other than the mortgage, utilities, internet, and other subscription services. They live on one end of the house, and she's in charge of chores for her family, including cooking and laundry, for them specifically. I take care of anything for my boyfriend and me, including communal areas. This arrangement didn't bother me initially because I understand how hard it can be to find a job without a college degree or connections in the area. I get that. What bothers me is that about a month ago I was talking to the sister in the backyard about jobs and she didn't seem in any hurry to get one. She stated that she isn't sure she'll even search for work because her husband and son, 19, also living with us, have told her they don't want her to work. This is because they want to get home with all the chores done and a hot meal ready. With her working, they would have to contribute to chores and make their own meals. This rubbed me the wrong way because I work my butt off at a highly stressful job but don't have the luxury of staying home. On numerous occasions, my boyfriend has told me that he can't afford to maintain our home by himself, so staying home is off the table. Also, she is non-disabled and has nothing keeping her from finding work besides her husband and son. I told my boyfriend I was annoyed that she doesn't try to find work because they know they don't have to pay rent, and I asked him to help her find a job. He told me I was selfish and unreasonable because we still had to pay the mortgage regardless of their presence. This started a huge argument because he told them they could stay as long as they wanted. It's already been over a year, and he assured them he would never ask for rent money. He didn't consult me on this. I thought I was setting a boundary for their stay with us, but he's making me feel like I'm just jealous that I have to work and she doesn't. So am I the idiot? Edit. Currently we split the mortgage. He makes more, so he pays for gas and most groceries. I am on the deed. He's always been the one who shied away from marriage while I was holding out hope. Not the idiot. I'm sorry you split your bills with your boyfriend. You both own the house together, but does he get to decide that 3 people can live there and freeload off of you? I get they were in a tough position, but it sounds like there are 3 people who could be working and contributing to the household who aren't. I'd consider the long-term viability of the relationship if your boyfriend doesn't want to consider your feelings. Yeah, neither of you can afford this on your own, but it sure as hell would be easier if the 3 other people were contributing. I 100% agree with this. If your boyfriend needs you to work to pay for the house and expenses, you should have a genuine say in who lives there and under what conditions. The sister-in-law should be doing all the housework and laundry, not just for herself, her hubby and her son. This would be a form of payment that leaves you to get a bit of free time. OP, you're surrounded by idiots. Primarily your boyfriend, who let the moochers in without your consent, and expects you to pay for them, and your in-laws, particularly your sister-in-law, for being a lazy mooch. I love the presumably subconscious current boyfriend. Please start looking for your next one. Choose younger. If you stay where you are, you will be supporting him and his family into retirement. For the last 10 years, I've been working my butt off to earn money so my family could enjoy an excellent standard of living. This was the wrong thing to do since it led to my wife deciding that since I was never home, she should bang other dudes. I earn about $240,000 a year when I work out of town. Where I live, child support for 2 kids costs about $3,300 monthly with that salary. Since my divorce, I went 50-50 custody, and I work in town, so I only earn $100,000 yearly. So my child support is actually only $800 a month. My ex is going nuts because she isn't getting what she thought she would. My lawyer has tried explaining that child support is based on income, and since I'm not working crazy hours to make lots of money for vacations and a huge house I don't need, I don't earn as much. She's telling everyone what an idiot I am for cutting back on my work to deprive my kids. That's BS. I have my kids half the time, and since I cannot be out of town, I earn less. My kids have everything they need. Am I the idiot? Edit, all the extra income was from overtime. I cannot be forced to work overtime. My ex is a teacher. She should work her 2.5 months off in the summer to raise her children's standard of living. Not the idiot. She wanted you to be more present for your kids. You're doing that. Your wife has to deal with the consequences of her actions. OMG, dude, I'm so sorry that she still has hooks in you. Do not feel bad. As a child of parents who were never together, kids should never ever be seen as a source of income. They will feel that. $800 a month is plenty. She needs to step up and get a better job if she wants more money. While you clearly didn't meet your wife's emotional needs, maybe she now understands that your sacrifice was exactly how you showed love. The kids will be fine, and with 50-50 it's a blessing she's getting anything, on top of 50% of your shared assets. I wouldn't believe stories like this are real if I hadn't been through the same thing myself. The number of women out there who think their ex-husband should hand over all their future income and live in a shoebox while funding lavish lifestyles is a lot larger than people think. Thankfully, it varies by state though, the law says otherwise. Suppose for a moment you'd made less money in the marriage to be more present at home. We all know she'd be banging other dudes because her husband doesn't provide for us. Can't win. My ex-wife and I got divorced 2 years ago. We have a teen son with whom we share custody. He spends 1 week with me and 1 with my ex. My girlfriend and her daughter moved in with me at the beginning of this year. My son and her have been getting along better than I could have hoped for, but lately he's been acting dismissive towards her and her daughter. Last week we found out that we'll have a child together. We broke the news to the children today over dinner. Her daughter was excited to have a younger sibling, but my son didn't seem too happy. After dinner I asked if something was bothering him. He asked if we were really going to have a child and how I could be sure that it was mine. I told him that was no way to talk about someone, and he reacted by doubling down on his statement and calling her a home wrecker and a gold digger. He was getting pretty loud, so I told him to either calm down and talk to me normally or go to his room to cool off. He decided to go back to his mom's house instead. I agreed to drive him because I didn't want him walking through half the city after dark. I told my girlfriend what happened, and she thinks I should text him before going to bed and let him take his time to respond without being pressured. I did receive a text from my ex, though, in which he called me an idiot, among other things, for kicking my son out in favour of my girlfriend, which is something I never did. I didn't want him to leave, but I also didn't want to force him to stay here when he insisted on leaving. My ex might be behind my son's reaction since she can't stand my girlfriend. None of the accusations sounded like something my son would say, especially since my girlfriend contributes to rent and groceries because she's an adult who can pay for herself. Edit. My ex and I agreed to get a divorce because we'd grown apart and just weren't happy anymore. Neither of us cheated, and my son knows that. My girlfriend and I met 4 months after my ex and I separated and started dating 2 months later. She didn't meet my son until we were sure our relationship was serious. You are the idiot. Expecting a child to be on the same page as 2 adults is not realistic. So this info was sprung on him and he didn't have time to process it. First, your ex isn't the reason for his reaction. He's entitled to his feelings. As the parent, you need to work through this with him. This is a lot for a teenager to handle. He's clearly going through a lot. Divorce affects children differently. Having been one of those teenagers myself, he needs counseling. He might be feeling as if you replaced his family with a new one. I don't know the circumstances surrounding the divorce. However, blaming your ex for his negative feelings and what he's going through doesn't solve anything. Also, comparing his reaction to your girlfriend's daughter isn't fair. That's great she's happy. Perhaps her mom gave her a heads up. Perhaps her parents' divorce, if there was one, didn't affect her the same way. Bottom line, your son needs help processing his parents getting a divorce, dad getting a new girlfriend, dad moving in his new girlfriend and her daughter, and dad and new girlfriend getting pregnant. That's a lot. Yeah, dude, you got divorced when he was a young teen and almost immediately got a new family, but now you're having a new kid. Think about how your current child might take that. Did you consider that perhaps he's a teenager and he might feel replaced? You just moved them in and told your son to adjust to it with no support, help, or discussion of how to adapt to these changes. The new baby is just proof to him that you're moving on without him. I have 3 kids. They're all adults with their own lives. My late wife, their mother, passed while they were high school college years. Around 5 years later, I started dating my now wife, Kelly. They've never liked Kelly and they never gave her a chance. They were not happy I was dating and even more unhappy when I was getting married. I've been married to her for about 7 years now. She really hasn't done anything to make them dislike her so much. I bought the house when I was married to my late wife. When she passed, I continued to pay the mortgage. Kelly moved in and sold her old place and basically paid off the rest of the home. We split the other bills now. Anyway, both of our wills give basically everything to each other. I have some sentimental stuff that will go to the kids. The big stuff will go to her, and the same will be true for me if she passes. I was at dinner and the kids asked about my will. I informed them of the plan and they were really upset. This started an argument that the childhood home goes to my wife. They think I'm a huge jerk and believe it should go to them. One commented about kicking her out when they inherited the home, which supports my stance. They think I'm a huge idiot, and I think it's pretty obvious I would leave my wife the house that she helped pay for to her. While no one is entitled to an inheritance, I do think it's crappy to get remarried and then cut your kids from your first marriage out entirely. So I guess this is everyone's the idiot here. Your kids suck for expecting money and for not being nice to Kelly. Still, you suck for cutting them out of the will entirely. It makes me wonder, is part of the reason they don't like Kelly is that they suspected you'd do something like this? Dude, is your wife the same age as your kids? You say your wife helped pay off your mortgage. Just how much did she contribute? Your kids are adults, they were raised in the house, so there shouldn't have been much, if anything, left on the mortgage. I feel like something is being left out of this story. Ultimately, you can do what you like, but your kids can definitely cut you out of their lives over this. You are the idiot. Something similar happened to me, but without my knowledge. Apparently, my father just disinherited us, because providing for his new wife was the right thing to do. Except she didn't need his money. We did. We went into debt just to attend his funeral and she never lifted a finger to help. Years later, with him long gone, I'm still very angry about this. Please don't do that to your children. This will only make them hate your current wife more and now you. I'm so hurt for them. Please try to be a better person for your children.